Hey y'all, it's Cindy from Cindy's Art. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you who have subscribed, who are following, chiming in, giving feedback. I really appreciate you. One of the things that I wanted to do today was to give you a quick tour of my office. All right, so this area over here, I've got a lamp, I've got a little cart. That cart is from IKEA. I made that basket probably 30 years ago. And I love homemade baskets. Well, anyway, I'll start up here. So when I'm painting and working on things, this is another inspiration point for me. This is where these are some of my favorite colors. I really like these paintings. You've seen the video for that. I haven't put that on a video. And then I have these little clips. And these are like, what do you call it, watercolor cards. I have palettes that match these, this watercolor, I forget what they call it, not test sheets. But anyway, these match palettes that I have, and I don't know about you, but I have to have a watercolor chart. There we go, watercolor chart, so I can see and understand what it is I'm looking at. Now this is a different chart for me. I just created some watercolor Brusho. I bought some Brusho paint, and this is my watercolor chart of them, and I put the paints in there. Those are just the paints, or the Brusho paint, and then here I'm playing. And I'm playing with this to just see what colors might work together. So that's a new technique for me. Underneath of there, you can see there's one of my master watercolor charts. I use a lot of Holbein, and I even have the codes on there. What's transparent, what's non-staining, easy lift, hard lift, granulating color. That means that with water or granulation, it makes these really beautiful like textures if I pour water over top of it. So those charts are real helpful, and those are some American Journey palette colors, and then that's another palette and the colors that I have in that. So okay, so that's what that is. So this is my inspiration, and if I need to figure out what colors to use in a painting, or my habit, I paint and then I wind up looking up the colors so I can tell you guys about it. So I'm always trying to improve. So anyway, okay, let's go down to this handy dandy cart. So I have got like a mixture of things on this top shelf. I have paint brushes, I have miscellaneous paper. These are little gadgets that I use while I'm painting. This is the most beautiful travel art paint brushes I've ever gotten myself. I love them. I have a compass point that I'm going to start use for abstract, a little palette knife, and I use that when I use modeling, pasting, crackling. I just got these, I think they're called Hake, H-A-K-E brushes, but I have little gadgets, even something like this I can use on my pictures to strike the paper, and if I paint on top of that and I've driven lines into it from that, it'll wind up creating more textures. Guys, I talk about my screen for making dots or for making sand. This is it. I hope you can see that. I will take this, I will load it up with some colors. Usually it's yellow ochre, a little bit of quinandron red, a little, and some white, a little bit of orange sometimes, a little bit of blue or gray. And I will take that and I will paint this. I'll paint my stuff on it, and then I literally will stick my mouth right up to this, and I will blow the paint off of it onto my picture. So that's why I never video what I'm doing, because all you'd see is the back of my head. But this is the coolest little screen, and it makes these really even dots. I don't know if you could see that. Yeah, you can. But it makes really good dots for sand. It's the best one I've seen. So anyway, I've got more of my, these are the silver black velvet brushes. I really like those a lot. If I'm making larger watercolors, I do grab those. These are Neptune quills. I'll talk about these in another video. I'm falling in love with quills, and I love Princeton brushes. These are just amazing, but they're a new toy for me. And then this is part of a set that I just bought, the Aqua Elite, Princeton Elite. And I originally got this one with a set of 3 And then I wound up buying some of these other brushes in different sizes. I really love them. Another thing that I have done is when I'm applying Frisk, which can be terribly messy on your paintbrushes, and if you don't take care of them right, then it'll ruin the brushes. Well, you can use a stick for that, so that'll work. Okay, I have some extra porcelain palettes. These are my miniature paintbrushes. I can talk about that all in another time. And then I want to grab my chair here. I'm glad you guys are doing this with me and you don't care what it looks like. This is my second shelf of this, and on the second shelf I've got all of my paints inside of this glass vase that I found. Here's some of the drawing gum, and I'm trying out different brands. I have a little tiny one down here. I sold a couple paintings and I wanted to invest in my work so I could just try a couple different things. I've got some really unique brushes in here. These are Cheap Joe's like scrubbers, and these are really good for lifting up paint, or if you messed up an area, you can take these brushes and you can scrub with water and it lifts it up really well. It's the best I've seen. These are Cheap Joe's, what do they call them? The ugly brushes. And these are great for using with your fluid mask, and these are made specially for something, with something. They're treated, and so it's easy for me to rinse them off. I've got gel pens. Oops, sorry. I've got gel pens. I've got extra miscellaneous brushes that I bought from Michael's. That was when I first started out. Oops, sorry guys. Crackling paste, modeling paste is back there. Here's my Brusho. I've mentioned this, or I've done some videos with this. And I've listed the supply. So I have a whole little canister of Brusho back there. And then I have a lot of mediums, iridescent, granulation, Oxgall. Oxgall helps your watercolors go more smoothly. They blend well on the, when you're painting, you put like a few drops of this. I put just maybe 3 drops or 2 drops in my water in that Talenti dish, and when I use it, it makes the watercolors just blend together very smoothly. It's really nice. And then this is a permanent masking. This other one is a masking that comes off. I use masking to block out my white foam or some details. You have to protect the light, and so when you use masking, you're using that to protect details of the light, because you don't want any colors to go on those sections, and you want to finish that off at the end. Well, this was a fun buy. You could see I bought it for a very low price, and it's permanent masking fluid, and I use this. I'll be doing a class on a pink flower, and with the pink flower, I painted the flower, then I wanted to do the background, and I put this stuff on top of that, and it protected it. So I worked on the background and it did not get harmed at all. I've got some watercolor mediums. These basically have Oxgall in them. I have been using this gum Arabic HWC. I think it's a Holbein. Oh yeah, it is. Okay. So I use that kind of stuff to get techniques. That's the same thing here. I just tried different brands. And I already showed you this, but this is the iridescent medium. I have a green butterfly I did a class on, and I used a tiny bit of that in it. These babies are fun. This fine line applicator. These come, you could buy these. I'll put them on the video below. But you can buy these, you can fill them up with water, which I do. I have one of them filled with water, another one filled with granulation medium. And these are, let's see if I can take this off. Oh, I have to screw it off. Oh, nope. 1 second, guys, I'm going to take this off. Okay, so this fine line applicator, this cap unscrews off, and sorry, Okay, so this fine line applicator, the tip you screw off, and see this needle thing at the top? That's where the water squirts out, or granulation liquid, and it makes it really easy to draw really fine lines. If I want to make granulation, it's kind of like taking a little tiny bit of water when your paint is still wet, but you've got a lot of paint on the paper, and when you put a little water on it, it creates designs. Any place where the water flows and goes, it's going to wash away textures, or there might be some darker textures that come out of it. Anyway, I'll have to show you that one versus talking about it. Another thing that I have up here, right back here, is I have a watercolor wheel, and I think I got this from Amazon, so I'll make sure I put that in there too. But this is really helpful. There's two sides to it. You can learn about color, tones, tints, and saturation and hues. It's just a nice little cheat sheet. But back here, I have a little like envelope holder metal thing, and I've got things like cute little watercolor trading cards that I can paint, or I have cut up paper that I'm ready to use to paint, and I'll set that there. Another thing I have back here is a bin with sponges and syringes, and this little handy dandy thing, this is a rubber cement. So when I am using masking fluid, you know, I paint an area because I want it left it white, then it's going to dry, and then I need to paint. And once I paint and I'm ready to remove that masking fluid again, this has been really good. It doesn't tear the paper. I don't have to worry about anything. And once in a while, I put masking tape on and I forgot to take it off. And a month later, it's like, you're supposed to take it off in 2 days. But I could use this and I could rub this off, and I could get it off. And this thing is a really good tool. It's only a couple bucks at Cheap Joe's. The other thing is see this little bit of gumming up. It's not a big deal. I've taken scissors, cut that off. I mean, this baby is durable, but I'm always using my 4 corners, and it doesn't matter what's on these corners. They remove everything just fine. So, and then the other thing is I have sponges, and I know you could pick these up everywhere, but the other thing I want to encourage you in, let's see, is some of the best. The other thing I want to encourage you in is these beautifully, very expensive $1 sponges that you can cut up. These are household sponges. You can cut them up, and whoops, these very old sponges, you can cut them up, and the very tip of this is my best sponge for making trees and just blotting down paint, so that way I can get some different textures. So you can get these other beautifully very unique sponges, which I think is fine. Just don't spend an arm and a leg on it. You can take a pair of scissors. I took a pair of scissors. I beat this sponge up. I mean, this baby, see those things? It's got like grooves in it, and that's because I chopped this baby up. I got it wet, and then I took my scissors and I cut into it, and I just tested it out on my paper over and over and over again until I got what I needed. So I think we've covered a good amount. Here's my washi tape. I should have about 3 rolls sitting right here. Here's my washi tape. I have about 3 rolls that are sitting here somewhere. And I use masking tape at times. Masking tape is fine, guys. If you want to use that to tape down your work, you can. Just don't oversaturate the paper. A lot of times if I just want to frame my picture, I will put the washi tape on. I love this stuff. And then what I'll do is I will not tape it down to a board. I have boards, but I don't always tape them down. If I'm going to tape a board down, soak the paper, blah, 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 then I'm going to use something thick like this tape. And I also have this white double-sided tape. So this baby is, I could get it wet on either side, and it is sticky as can be. The last row that I can show you are my palettes. I have got working palettes in here. This palette broke, and it is beautiful. There's no sense throwing it out. I've got my huge master palette in here, and there's times where I will wind up showing you how to make a palette. And here's some of my extra little tiny cubes. These are great because if I want to take a traveling palette, let me open up one of these palettes so you can see what I mean. If I want to take one of my traveling palettes, I bought this black palette. I bought this and it was empty, and then I stuck all of these squares in and I put my paint in it, and I showed you my watercolor charts. One of those charts matches this. So this is one of the watercolor pans that if I'm traveling, this is really, really small. See how I've got extra tissue in there? I could put a watercolor chart in there, which is smart, but this is nice and easy to pack. See how small that is? And then it's got this ring on it too, which is great because if I need to hold it while I'm painting, voila, there you are. So anyway, and then underneath of there, see that? That is 60 tubes of paint. That was my first Holbein purchase, and I loved it. I am still using those tubes up, but as I've gone on, I've needed to get more colors, and that's where I've got these. This is American Journey. This is a gum Arabic. I want to mention this gum Arabic, and then this is gum Arabic. This is more liquid form, and if I wanted to paint something and I wanted to look kind of glossy and shiny, I would use this. And if I need a little bit of texture, like an impasto, how do they say that, impasto texture, then I would use this. I put a tiny bit of it, maybe like a drop with my regular paint, and it looks translucent. It looks like it's coming off the page. It's really cool. So anyway, another thing that I mention is white gouache. So this is Holbein, and this is a pretty big tube. It's really good stuff. Anyway, when you're working with whites and you need to put hairs on animals or a little bit on grass, I will take this and I'll mix it with a tiny bit of yellow for the grass. If it's an animal, I most likely will use it plain. And but when I've got to paint hairs or do fine work, you always want to have gouache on hand. It is not watercolor. I think it's more of an acrylic type of paint, but they call it gouache or whatever they call it. So anyway, but in here I have a lot of my Holbein tubes. The palette that I showed you down below here, where I have a bunch of small tubes, those are all testers, and that's all you need when you start off. Get yourself some testers. Don't get all these big tubes. As I've gone on with my painting, I have found out what colors I like. I waited like a year and a half, and I used that 60 set, and then as I went on and I identified like which paints that I love, then I got these, and I'm going to show you one paint. This is like a must. You gotta try this. This quinandronin, I can never say this word right, but this quin gold, it's the most interesting thing I've seen. If you add a lot of water to it, it looks like yellow. If you only add a little bit, it looks like brown. If you add a medium amount, it's got that gold tone. So what I'm saying is it has a lot of color for the color that it is. And depending on where the water level is, it just has different tones. And this thing, it drives me crazy because I'm always looking for ways of how to use it. And this was the other one that I got, the Quin Red. And this one is the same thing to me. There's a lot of color that's packed, whether it's dark, light, or medium. It's interesting because when you work with watercolor charts, there's just a basic light and dark of those colors. But the ones I just pointed out to you, they're not the same. And there's something that it's like you need to take a look at them. So subscribe below. Let me know what you would like for us to paint together next. And follow me here on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Patreon. And I even have a website, CindyWilliamsMooreArtist.com. Patreon, I need people to support my work and my effort so I can provide videos that are for teaching or telling you how to create your own art and teach lessons online. So I need your support, and you can do that through Patreon by becoming a supporter. Patreon is Patreon, and then the slash, and Cindy Williams Moore Artist. That's what my Patreon page is. So we will see you next time, and great to see you face to face. Bye.